Hello and welcome to Tank and AFE News. My name's Tom and today we are doing book reviews. Today we have Panther Medium Tank, 4th SS Panzerkorps Eastern Front, 1944 by Dennis Oliver. This is of course from the Tankcraft series. It's put out by Pen and Sword. This review copy was sent to me by the fine folks at Casemate Publishing, so thanks to them. And this is not the first time that they've sent one of these Tankcraft series books for me to review. This is the first one, though, that's been on the Panther. And what's interesting is that they have taken the Panther and subdivided up into numerous books. So, like I mentioned, this one is specifically on 4th SS-Panzerkorps and the Eastern Front of 1944. I noticed they have at least 3 other titles in this series covering the Panther. And that's a little different, because a lot of their other books that they've done just have one book per tank. And for some tanks, that's fine. For things like these late war German cats that are hugely popular with model builders, it makes sense to make books that are much more specific, because obviously, you know, the Germans built quite a few of these vehicles. There's a lot of variety in unit markings and paint schemes, and as far as little technical details about when, you know, over the 2 years the production of Panthers existed. So there's certainly more than enough interest, I would think, for there to be multiple volumes for a model building guide book like this on the Panther. So that said, let's get into it, because that's the fun stuff. So as you can see, as with all these, they get right into it, put the index right on the inside of the front cover, no wasted space, which that's, you know, fantastic. You know, nobody wants to pay for blank pages, of course. And as with all these books, it starts off with an introduction on the historical aspect. Doesn't get super deep into the Panther itself, because, you know, anybody who's buying this book is probably already fairly familiar with the Panther overall. They want to know specifically about 4th SS Panzerkorps and the Panther's use in that corps. So it's nice they jump right into the history of that corps. Here you can see they have a pretty extensive map and timeline over multiple pages here. And then get into organizational chart and then the specific Panzer regiments within the unit. I love these charts with the little tank silhouettes. I don't know, just it reminds me of my wargaming days and putting together my tank units in Panzer Blitz or whatever. But it also, for me, having these visual representations helps me understand the layout of the units better than if it's just written in text form. So, more history of the different regiments. And then we get into the color plates. These are really nicely done paintings illustrating some of the different camouflage schemes. And of course, the camouflage schemes varied widely amongst German tanks. As far as I understand it, they just sort of issued the paint and let the units do what they felt was appropriate for their surroundings. And so there's quite a few of these that give a lot of good different examples to a model builder of both paint schemes and unit markings. And you can see they give quite a few, more than these types of books usually give, which is nice. And then we jump right into some of the specific models that people have built. And this is always where I feel pretty bad about my own model building skills, which are rudimentary at best. You know, these people are pretty much artists, because aside from just being able to construct the model well, which that's about as far as I can get. Okay, my models were structurally sound, but, you know, it's the actual painting where I always fell short, and probably is one of the harder aspects for a lot of people. And of course, here you can see somebody who's done a lot of really nice details. So, like, they've got the aluminum barrel there. So, you know, taken a kit and done more with it than just put together what they were given. They've really worked on the details. So these are pretty fantastic examples. Here is yet another one. This one's sort of fun, this Berg Panzer. You know, it's always funny, because this was, you know, such a cutting edge tank for 1943-44, and then to see it where they just put these wooden doors over the turret ring to make it into a tank retriever. It's this weird combination of like a super advanced tank and like a medieval looking door on the top. Kind of makes me laugh. Obviously the Germans did not put quite as much design and development work into their tank retrievers as the United States did. Another example, as you can see, nice job with the camouflage twigs and sticks there. Here's Really nice example of, you know, trying to recreate the Zimmerit covering. And then here we get into summaries of the specific kits that are out there. So, of course, the Tamiya one I think is quite well. I had that one as a kid, like, you know, 30-some years ago. Trumpeter, Airfix, you know, you gotta always mention the old Airfix, 176 scale stuff, Revell's 172 scale, and some of the other ones here, Royal Model, Edward Model. So, and then they go into some of these people that provide aftermarket parts, like tracks and other things. And then technical details and modifications in the back here. So this is providing technical information about the Panther. So things that a model builder might want to know that a lot of books wouldn't necessarily talk about, because it's a very sort of like minor nuts and bolts thing that, you know, if you just want to know, if you're interested in the Panther from a historical standpoint, you might not really care that much about, say, the exhaust pipes. But if you're building a model, you need to know that kind of detail. So that kind of stuff is appreciated. And that pretty much is, the rest of the book is sort of talking about some of those technical details. Some pictures here from the Panther Fibble. And then the end of the book, and a little list of some of the other tanks that are available in the series. So this is $24.95 in the United States, $16.99 in terms of UK pounds, and probably find it for a little less on some of the online booksellers. If you are interested in building a model Panther, this book will be a very valuable resource if you want to make it of the 4th SS-Panzerkorps of the Eastern Front of 1944. If you are just interested in the history of the Panther in that unit, even if you're not building a model, there's probably still going to be a lot in here that will be valuable to you. And honestly, for myself, that's my larger interest, since I'm not really building models these days. But I really like this series. I think it's a nice combination of well-researched and written historical information and a really interesting guide for people that are looking to build models, which you don't often find that all combined into one convenient book, as opposed to maybe some of the magazines out there. So this one, thumbs up from us. Thank you to the fine folks at Casemate, and we'll catch you on the next one.